Hello Internet, my name is Termite, and buddy, you might want to walk your kid on the sidewalk, not in the middle of the road, especially when he's in a stroller. And I got a little status update for you. Like I told you earlier, the apprenticeship down in Charlotte didn't pan out. I never got a call from them. So I had some other leads for Charlotte, and long story short, yeah, none of them are hiring either. So now that I'm still without a job, it's going on, it's a little over 4 months since I graduated, and I got some subscriptions coming up that need paying, most notably the websites that I run. I have quite a few domain names that I've picked up over the years because I didn't want anyone to pick them up. I picked up Termite Studios because eventually I would like to start my very own production house and call it Termite Studios. As it stands, it's just a personal website. There's also a couple other domain names I own, because domain names are pretty cheap. You know, it's a powerful thing to have, especially the .coms. If you can grab something is a .com, and if you get lucky and you're ahead of the curve, and that something becomes popular, like a term or something, well, you can either hang on to it and make your own site, or you can sell it to the highest bidder. That hasn't happened to me yet. Oh, what other properties do I have? I have actionpancakes.com. I have kungfumeatballs.com. I have a couple others that I'd like to use. Oh, holdyourshoe.com. That's, I mean, obvious that I have that, because why else would I tell you to go to holdyourshoe.com to stay current with my blog? Yeah, I have a couple other properties that may or may not become websites, or may not be bought up. I don't know. But long story short, the registrations are coming up, and I need to keep paying to register them. Otherwise, I'll lose them, and someone else will pick them up, and I may never get them back. So that makes it means I have come into a bit of a stumbling block, because I need to renew these domain names, as well as the hosting packages, because I don't run my own server. All my domains, all my websites are on other people's servers that they pretty much lease out the space and the bandwidth. So that I need to renew that, and obviously I don't have any money. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this blog. That was a short light. I just barely made it through. So, with all my Charlotte leads pretty much bust for now, I'm going to try them later after the holidays. I need something in the interim. Now, this is Woodbridge, which is a suburb, and that means a lot of houses and a lot of retail chains. The problem, now you would think, retail chains, that's an easy job. You would think so. The problem with retail chains is they all take their applications online. Now, I don't know what kind of luck any of you have had with trying to apply to a job online, but I've tried over half a dozen times, with different stores, and I never get responses back. And this is, of course, the problem with the online application is too impersonal. You don't get any feedback. You don't get a notice saying, I'm sorry, you don't meet our qualifications, I'm sorry, you're asking for too much money, or even, I'm sorry, you're a crazy person. I'm just driving around a parking lot for no reason. Now, to my left here is a movie theater. I actually applied to that. It was a couple days ago. I figured they might look at my bachelor's degree in film and say, hey, maybe we can hire you. I'm not holding my breath. Boy, am I gonna look like an idiot if they call me though. But getting back to the online applications, I had a little bit of insight on this, and if you've never taken one, let me enlighten you. A lot of times at the end of the usual, questions about, what kind of employment have you had, what's your education, how much you want us to pay you, what's your availability, all that stuff. They then ask you a series of questions, usually, your mileage may vary, about your personality. And they don't tell you it's about your personality, it's veiled questions. Not very well veiled, but questions like, I enjoy working as a team leader. Agree or disagree? And I think what they're looking for is consistency. Now, I don't know what kind of metric they're using, but it's kind of hard to be consistent when they give you a whole bunch of different scenarios and they expect you to give the same one for each one. And I'm sorry, but I don't enjoy being a team leader when the subordinates are incompetent. I much rather enjoy being a team leader when everyone does what they're supposed to. I mean, who wants to be in charge of a bunch of idiots? I don't. I want to be in charge of smart people. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm in the car. And I'll tell you. Because I felt like it. Okay, that's not it. I actually have a project I'd like to show you from way back when I was just starting to work with After Effects. When I was at school, we had this class called Video 150, Introduction to Motion Graphics. No, it wasn't called that, it was called TV Graphics. Yeah, that was it. And what it was is just a bare bones introduction to After Effects. Funny thing about that class is I took it out of order. You're supposed to take that class first and then take the nonlinear editing classes. And I couldn't do that. Because they kept canceling the class, and they finally had it, and it was after I'd taken one of the editing classes already. But the final project was to create an introduction title sequence of about 1.5 minutes long, or 2 minutes or so, to one of 3 shows, either True Blood, The Wire, or CSI. Now, I've never seen True Blood or The Wire, and I'm not a big fan of CSI. It just feels unrealistic to me. So I decided to go with either True Blood or The Wire. And everyone pretty much in the class picked True Blood. I don't know why. Maybe they were on a vampire fix. So to avoid being redundant, I picked The Wire, and this led to the first time I ever used that camera mount that I talked to you about back in episode 6 when we did the PSA with Mickey on the big wheel. Since The Wire's introduction is already some bluesy music, decided to stick with that and pulled off John Lee Hooker's Boom Boom as played in the movie The Blues Brothers. So with some help from my dad, we had a camera mount and decided to just drive up and down the very road I'm on now. Except I'm going the other way. And after everything was shot, I put on some red and blue lights, put the titles over top, and came out with what you see here.
Come on home. walk that walk and talk that talk and whisper in my ear. Tell me that you love me. I love that talk, that baby talk. But when you talk like that, I can't take it like that. How? Hey, come on.
Granted, it's not superb. I was just starting out with After Effects, but I did learn a lot about creating titles in After Effects. And, you know, parenting stuff, cameras, also random effects, expressions. And that set me up to do other things. And I'm actually quite impressed with how steady everything turned out. I was worried that it'd be all jittery and jumpy and impossible to look at, but I had forgotten that my camera has an image stabilizer, which steadied everything out a little bit. Made it much easier to look at. But just enough movement for me to motion track that movement, do some reversing, and parent all the text to this track. So it gave a little more, what do you want to call it? Jumpiness. That's what I want to call it. And I think, of course, the blues music helped out. John Lee Hooker's. That's my favorite John Lee Hooker song. I think he played that better than his original recording. I do have one regret about that piece. I wish I could have gotten a cleaner recording of that song. But as far as I could tell, the only time that song was recorded was for the movie, and they never released it on the movie soundtrack. So, did the best with what I had. So, I guess that's it for this week. Send your emails to holdyourshoe@termitestudios.com. Also, keep watching this blog, holdYourShoe.com. And my personal website, termitestudios.com, is always up and running. So I'll see you next week. Definitely.